On an empty highway at night, cameras become the only witnesses. A car pulls into a lonely gas station. A driver leans out to pay a toll. A sedan rolls past a roadside camera and vanishes between one frame and the next. In each of these stories, there is a last clear image. A final stop at the gas pump. A quick wave at the booth. A grainy shot of headlights cutting through the dark. And then nothing. This is Dark File Archive. Tonight, we're opening a set of files where people were last seen in the same place most of us barely think about. Highways, gas stations, toll plazas, and roadside cameras. Fleeting seconds of footage, followed by years of questions. We're not here to sensationalize or glorify what might have happened. We'll walk through what is known, what the cameras saw, and the gaps that still won't close. Names, locations, and some details have been softened or changed for privacy, but the patterns and the unease are drawn from real-world cases. Let's begin with a driver on a long trip, a rural gas station, and a car that keeps going without a clear ending. He leaves before sunrise, planning to cross several states in a single day. The route is ordinary. Highways, rest stops, a handful of small towns along the way. Early that afternoon, he calls a family member from the road. His voice sounds tired but normal. He mentions refueling soon, then getting back on the highway. The next confirmed sighting comes from a gas station camera off a quiet exit. The footage is clear enough to track every step. His sedan pulls up to a pump. He steps out, stretches his back, and starts fueling. There are no other customers in frame. The only movement is a clerk briefly visible behind the counter through the glass. He finishes pumping, walks inside, and pays in cash. The register's camera shows a short, ordinary conversation. He buys a drink, glances at a rack of maps out of habit, then heads back to his car. Outside, the pump camera catches him opening the driver's door. He gets in, closes it, and the headlights come on. A few seconds later, the car rolls out of frame toward the highway. He is never seen on camera again. When he doesn't arrive at his destination, his family reports him missing. Investigators pull footage from nearby toll booths, traffic cameras, and other gas stations along his planned route. There is no sign of his license plate once he leaves that rural exit. Days later, his car is discovered on a service road miles from the highway. It's pulled off to the side, locked with no obvious damage. Inside are his bags neatly packed. His phone is missing. The keys are not in the ignition. Facts: he was driving alone. He refueled. He left the gas station under his own power. His vehicle left the main route afterward and ended up in a quiet place with limited camera coverage. Theories range from a medical emergency to foul play to a deliberate disappearance. Some point to the missing phone. Others note that the area where the car was found has stretches of highway with no cameras, no tolls, and plenty of exits that lead to back roads. The last image that everyone agrees on is simple. A man closing his driver's door, starting his car, and driving toward the open road. The camera gives us a clean ending to that stop. It gives us nothing about what came next. Our next file starts in a much busier place. A crowded interstate service area, a college student heading back to campus, and a vehicle that's later found in a very different condition. She's been visiting family for the weekend. In the early evening, she sends a message to a friend. She's getting back on the road and should arrive on campus before midnight. Her route is straightforward. Major interstates, well-lit exits, plenty of cameras. Around 9 p.m., toll records and phone data place her at a large service plaza. CCTV from the gas station that records her pulling in, parking near the pumps, and walking into the building. She uses the restroom, buys food, and pays with a card. The cameras inside show her standing in line, scrolling on her phone, and briefly smiling at a child in front of her. Outside, another camera captures her walking back to her car. She gets in and sits there for a few moments with the interior light on, as if checking directions or messages. The dome light goes off, headlights come on. Her car pulls out of the frame and blends into the flow of traffic leaving the plaza. That is her last confirmed appearance. When she doesn't arrive at campus and stops responding to calls, friends report her missing. Traffic cameras along the highway are checked. A few show a vehicle that could be hers from a distance, but the angle and glare make the plate unreadable. There is no clear, frame-by-frame trail like there was at the service area. The search ends up focusing not on the highway itself, but on an isolated road that branches off from it. Her car is found there later, far from any gas station or toll booth, heavily damaged by fire. Inside, there are no obvious clues explaining how it got there or what happened after she left the service plaza. Confirmed facts. She reached the service area safely. She appeared calm and alone on camera. She left in her car and merged back into traffic. Her vehicle was later discovered off the main route, in a state that erased many details investigators might have relied on. Common theories include a wrong turn, an encounter at the service area that cameras didn't fully capture, or someone following her out without drawing attention. But every theory has to pass through the same bottleneck. The short sequence where she's last seen on camera, leaving a place with dozens of lenses pointed at it, and entering a stretch of road where almost none exist. Our third case centers on someone who spends much of his life on the highway, a long-haul truck driver, last clearly seen at a fuel stop and weigh station. He's several days into a routine delivery run. His logs, digital and paper, match his route and schedule. Colleagues describe him as experienced, cautious, and unlikely to take unnecessary risks. Late one night, he pulls into a combined gas station and truck stop near a major junction. The exterior cameras show his rig arriving, indicators flashing as he turns into the lot. He fuels the truck, checks his tires, and walks inside for a quick meal and a shower. Surveillance inside the building shows him eating alone, briefly chatting with another driver, and paying at the counter. Nothing about his body language looks nervous or rushed. Before he leaves, he steps outside to make a phone call. A camera near the entrance records him leaning against the side of the building, speaking quietly into his phone. Later, that call log will become a key part of the timeline, putting him firmly in that place at that time. After the call, he climbs back into his truck and pulls away from the fuel island. Not far down the highway, a weigh station camera records his rig passing through, lights steady, speed normal. That's the final confirmed image. He's scheduled to arrive at a distribution center hours later. He never checks in. By morning, his truck is located on the shoulder of the highway. Its idling hazards flashing. When officers approach, they find the cab empty. His wallet and logbook are in their usual places. The sleeper area shows no obvious signs of a struggle. There is no footage showing him stepping down from the cab. No toll booth cameras capturing a hitchhiker or passenger. No witnesses who clearly remember seeing him stopped on the shoulder. Facts. He fueled up and left the truck stop. The weigh station camera proved he made it back onto the highway. His truck was left running, as if he only meant to step away briefly. Speculation includes a sudden health event, an attempt to check something on the side of the road, or an encounter with someone who flagged him down. Some point to the phone call outside the truck stop, wondering if he agreed to meet someone further along the route. But between the last weigh station frame and the moment officers opened that empty cab door, the record goes dark. The highway, for once, seems to have swallowed its own witness. Our next file shifts focus back to a smaller vehicle, a short drive, and a driver who sounded afraid in her last call. She's driving home late from a gathering, taking a route she knows well. About halfway, she calls a friend and mentions something unsettling. She thinks a car has been behind her for a long stretch, matching her lane changes and exits. The friend tells her to stay on well-lit roads, go somewhere public, and keep them on the line. A few minutes later, she turns into a gas station just off the highway. CCTV shows her car pulling up to a pump closest to the building. Another vehicle enters the lot not long after and stops near the far side, partially out of view. She gets out, begins fueling, and looks around more than most customers do. She keeps her phone in her hand. Inside the station, the clerk later reports that she seemed alert, not obviously distressed, but aware of her surroundings. The interior camera shows her paying, glancing toward the windows as if checking for that car again. Then she heads back to her vehicle. Outside, the pump camera records her getting in, closing the door and pulling away. The other car in the lot also pulls out within the same minute, leaving in the same general direction. From the camera's angle, it's hard to confirm whether it ever truly followed her or simply happened to leave at a similar time. That gas station footage is the last clear visual record of her. When she doesn't arrive home, that final stop becomes the center of the investigation. Traffic cameras on the nearby highway are checked. Some show clusters of headlights and taillights, but nothing detailed enough to separate one car from another. Her phone loses signal not long after she leaves the gas station. Much later, her car is recovered from water near a remote stretch far from the interstate. Conditions make it difficult to reconstruct exactly how or when it entered. There are no nearby cameras, no toll booths, no passers-by who come forward. Confirmed, she felt uneasy about another vehicle behind her. She did the generally recommended thing, stopped somewhere public well lit with cameras. She refueled, paid, and left, captured clearly on CCTV. Speculation divides into two broad camps. One sees coincidence and risk, a tired driver leaving a safe place and encountering a dangerous stretch of road. The other focuses on the timing of the second car entering and exiting the station. Either way, the last place she appears is a gas station specifically chosen because it felt safer than the dark highway. The cameras did their job for those few minutes and nowhere else. Our final case tonight involves an older driver, a toll booth, and a gap in the record between 2 points that should have been easy to connect. He's retired, making a short trip to visit relatives in a neighboring town. Family describe him as independent, but starting to struggle mildly with memory. They remind him of the route, the exits, the toll plaza he'll pass through. At the toll, the booth camera captures him clearly. He leans out, exchanges a few words with the attendant, and pays in cash. There's nothing obviously wrong in his behavior. He smiles, thanks the worker, and is waved through. Automatic cameras further along the same highway are supposed to log every plate as vehicles pass under them. On paper, he should appear on multiple scans. In reality, his plate is recorded at the toll, and then not again. When he doesn't arrive on time, the family calls authorities, who quickly obtain footage from the toll plaza. They confirm the exact time he passed through. Teams then work outward from that point, checking ramps, rest areas, and smaller exits. Days later, his car is found on a little-used road between two main exits. It's pulled off to the side, doors closed, with no immediate sign of damage. There are no nearby cameras, no businesses with security footage to extend the timeline. Facts. He reached the toll plaza safely. The camera there captured him lucid, engaged, and following the usual routine. His vehicle did not appear on the automated systems further along the highway. Common theories suggest he took a wrong exit shortly after the toll, turned onto smaller roads, and became disoriented. Others point to the possibility of a technical failure in the automatic plate system, meaning some data from that stretch is incomplete or missing. In the end, the toll booth becomes a symbolic line in the case file. On one side, clear video, clear records, clear direction of travel. On the other, silence. 5 stories. 5 last sightings at gas pumps, service areas, way stations, and toll booths. Places designed to be watched, monitored, recorded. In every case, the camera gives us a moment that feels solid. A driver paying for gas, a truck clearing a way station, a car easing away from a brightly lit forecourt. Then the road takes over, and with it, all the gaps in our systems. Maybe the answers are mundane. Mechanical problems, wrong turns, medical emergencies, crimes carried out far from any lens. Maybe some of the missing footage exists but has never surfaced, lost in storage, or never recognized as important. Or maybe these cases reveal something more uncomfortable. That even in the most monitored parts of our journeys, at the pump, at the booth, under the sign that says, "You are being recorded," there are still blind spots where an entire life can slip out of frame. Which of these highway last sightings unsettles you the most? If you could place one more camera anywhere in these stories, over a rural service road, along a river crossing at a small exit between 2 tolls, where would you put it and why? This is Dark File Archive. If you want more real stories that feel impossible, consider subscribing, and tell me in the comments what kind of case, location, or last sighting you want open next.